Alright, hi guys. Welcome to the Ojcp course, where I'm going to be teaching today Advanced Class Design in Java. Alright, let's got this slide on. Alright, Advanced Class Design Ojcp 8 by Java Monkey 77. Alright guys, let's get to the point. So on the certification, you're going to look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 topics we're going to cover. We're not going to cover lambdas today. So in the Java 8 certification, you need to know how to develop that code, use abstract classes and methods, develop code that uses the final keyword, create inner classes including static inner classes, local inner classes, nested classes, and anonymous inner classes, and use enumerated types including methods and constructors in an enum type. Again, we're not covering lambdas. Lambdas are a separate topic. So right now we're going to cover we're going to develop code that uses abstract classes and methods. What's an abstract class? Again, if you took the first certification, OCA 8, it covers abstract classes. So we're going to be abstract on describing abstract classes. On the certification, this is there's probably going to be 2 questions on the certification on abstract classes. But let's cover it. Abstract class is a template class or the mother class that defines signature methods or variable. As remember, abstract classes are used in inheritance, so it's at the very top. We're gonna just go quickly over inheritance. So the abstract classes do not have any methods. I mean, they have methods, but they don't have any function in the methods. It's just a signature. When you in the subclasses such as car and the boat, if you're looking over here, you're going to implement the function logic in the car or the boat, which are the subclasses. Once again, and when you declare an abstract class, you have to remember, you have to put public abstract class vehicle, or whatever you're naming that class. And remember, on the certification, they're going to try to trick you if private methods or private variables are inherent into the subclass. It is not. Once again, guys, private classes are not inherited into the subclass. Only public, protected, and default, depending on the package. So if the default is in a different package, it's not going to inherit that class. Once again, if the default is in another package, it's not going to inherit that method. If the default is in another package, it's not going to inherit that method. Again, remember these abstract rules when you're writing the Java certification. These are important. Abstract classes cannot be instantiated. Only the subclass. Once again, abstract classes cannot be instantiated only in the subclass. The certifications are going to try to trick you on that question too. Point 2. Abstract methods are declared without an implementation or body. Remember, the certification, sometimes they're going to try to trick you on that one. An abstract keyword can only be applied to classes or non-static methods. You cannot use the abstract keyword in a static method. Once again, you cannot use the abstract keyword in a static method. Number 4, abstract methods can only be created in abstract classes. You can't in a non-abstract class. You can't create any abstract methods. This is common. This is the first certification, OCA 8. More rules about abstract classes. Abstract classes don't need to declare abstract methods to be declared abstract. All you have to do is put the keyword abstract. Abstract method can extend in another abstract subclass. An abstract class can extend another abstract class. Once again, an abstract class can extend another abstract class. But if it's a concrete class, this is going to reach to 7. If it's a concrete class, it has to implement that abstract method. Once again, this is important. It's like an interface. If the concrete class or non-abstract extends an abstract class, it must implement an abstract method. It must. It's a rule, or it's not going to compile. Develop code that uses the final keyword. Develop code that uses the final keyword. Final classes cannot be subclassed. You cannot subclass a final class. For example, strings. The string class is final, so you cannot. And I think the number class on the first certification. Remember, the number class is also final. It cannot be inherited. It cannot be extended. Once the class is final, all the signatures, it cannot be overridden. It cannot be overridden, yeah. Final method cannot be overridden by subclasses. Final method cannot be overridden by subclasses. Meaning once you declare that method final and you try to override it in the subclass, it's not going to work out. You can't. It's going to be a compiler error. Final variable can only be initialized once and cannot change its value after that. Once you declare a final variable, you cannot change its value. Again, remember these. These sound simple, but they're going to come on the certification. Final keyword can be applied to variables, methods, and classes. Again, final keyword can be applied to variables, methods, and classes. And this is the most important. Final can either be static or non-static. If you look into enums and interfaces, all the variables are static final, implicitly. That relates here. All right, more final rules. Keyword words. Final attributes can be initialized either when declared inside a constructor or inside an initializer block. You can initialize them inside a constructor or inside an initialized block. You cannot initialize a final variable inside a method. Here's the code on how finals are used. You see their private number here. See it's being initialized inside the initializer. You see the name is being initialized in the initializer. And you look at number. Once it's final, number tries to write it over into the constructor. It's a compile error, a checked error. It's not going to work out. Even inside a method, you cannot declare. You look at here. You cannot declare final variables inside a method. Again, the certification is going to try to trick you on this question. All right, final code example. So, as you see here, final public talk, and it's extended, and the person's here trying to create another signature method for public void talk in woman, extended by human, and it's compiled tell error. You cannot override the method once it's final. It's done. All right, guys. Abstracts and final keywords, they're not the most important things in the exam. Where the exam tries to fuck you up is inner classes, static inner classes, local classes, nested classes, and anonymous inner classes. That's where the exam is that's where all the fucking up is happening. All right, member classes, you want to think of the member class as like one of those Russian dolls. You could think of those Russian dolls as a class, right? And inside there's another class. You could think of the other Russian doll as a class, looking at this example. And inside that class, you can have another class inside the member class, and another class inside the member class, and another class inside a member class. Member classes are pretty much the simple ones. They're just classes inside classes. It's just a class inside a class. You guys ever saw the movie Inception? It's like a dream with Leonardo DiCaprio. It's like a dream within a dream. But let's take it a class. It's cool. It's like a class inside another class. It's like that exhibit meme. Let's see if we have time. We can deviate a little bit. All right, guys. I'll just show you something. All right. Class. Let's see if I can find this meme. I've seen it here. That's how you spell his name. All right. Frick. So yeah, it's like this guy's meme. He said, "I just use this one." So I heard you like class, so I gave you a class about another class. But you can see this guy. We should make a meme about him putting classes inside other classes. But all right, let's go back to topic, guys. Oh shit! I don't want to be running out of time. All right. Again, this is an example. You can see here is the public class, outer class. All right. So so you're looking at this and you're like the outer and the inner, and you can see private hidden message. This is the thing right here, and it goes hello from inner. It says hello from inner class, and then public void print hidden message systems output Brinlin, and put the little message to go in here. And then this is, look at the bottom. Look at the go to the main method and go look at outer.inner.outer. In the main method, this is how you have to remember this. This is going to be on the exam. I'm going to be clear. This is going to be on the exam. You have to know how to instantiate inner classes. Remember this. Remember this. This is going to be on the exam. All right, let's go to member classes rules. Oh yeah, forgot to tell you. And the program prints out hello from inner class. All right, let's go. Should we run it? Yep. All right, let's do a quick run of it. We're gonna go to inner. All right, anonymous. Where is it? Yeah, outer, and we'll do a quick run here. As you can see, it goes and prints out hello from inner class. You can see it. All right, let's go back. Member class rules. Remember these rules. Again, remember these rules. These are going to be on the exam. Can be declared private, public, private, protected. They can be any access modifier type. So a member class can be public, private, protected, or default. Once again, a member class can be public, private, protected, or default. Number two, a member inner class can extend any class or implement any interfaces. Once again, can extend any class or implement any interfaces. Can be abstract or final. This is important. Can be abstract or final. Can be. Cannot. Inner classes cannot declare static fields or methods. Once again, inner classes cannot declare static fields or methods. And number 5, can access members of the outer class, including private members. It can access members of the outer class. So let's say you have inside. Well, I'll do a number 5, a quick demonstration. So we're in our outer class right now. Let's say inner class wants to access private world. I don't know, just private. I'll just say just main message. All right. Message from outer. Let's make this bigger for you guys. From outer class. All right. And we have to make it a string. And we just change this to message. It's now going to print out the public message. It's now going to print out the private member from the outer class. Watch. Proceed. As you can see, message from outer class. It print right here. That's another example. All right, so we're going to go to anonymous classes. Again, anonymous classes are completely pointless, but they're on the exam anyways. They're just lambdas. Okay, anonymous classes are like, yeah. Anonymous inner class is a local inner class that doesn't have a name. That's why it's anonymous. Anonymous inner classes are required to extend an existing class or implement an existing interfaces. Again, like lambdas. We're gonna do that tomorrow. All right, so public class. As you can see, this is in the abstract or interface. You have this on the inner class, and then inside inside the method of admissions, you declare sales today only, and you can see right over here where I commented anonymous class. And then you implement the method like an abstract class, and then you do the calculations, and it prints, what does 5, okay, I put there 5, so from base sales, so base sales is what, 5, so 5 take away 3, so it's going to print out 2. Again, I'll put this code on the GitHub so you guys can run it. So what are the rules? Again, remember these rules. These rules are important for the certifications. You guys have to memorize it. All right. Anonymous inner class. Anonymous classes must extend exactly one superclass or an interface. And again, anonymous class must extend one superclass or an interface. Meaning it has to be abstract. Must have a semicolon at the end. As most of these inner classes, they do not have a semicolon at the end. Looking back, you see that right there with the sales today only anonymous class. It has a semicolon. And anonymous classes cannot declare static methods or variables. Same as member classes. And can access local variables if they're final. It can act as a local variable in the method if it's final, or effectively final, meaning if it's static final. Effectively final means static final. And number 5, can access instant members of the closing class. So it can access, again, it can do the same thing like we did in member class, access outer class members, even if they're private. Alright guys, now we're going to go into local inner class. A local inner class is a nested class defined within a method. So it's a class within a method. It's like a member class within a method. As you can see, this is an example of an inner class. The local inner class is cube. As you can see, how it's instantiated. And it's instantiated inside the method, and boom, it prints out the calculation. So 5 times 5, 25. What is the answer for what's the output? So 5 to the power of 3. I do not know what that is. Alright. Local inner class rules. They do not have an access modifier. They don't have public, private, or protected. Again, local inner classes do not have public, private, or protected. They cannot be declared static and cannot declare static fields or methods. They cannot be declared static and cannot declare static fields and methods. They have access to all the fields and methods of the enclosing class. Remember that, like member class. They can access private variables, public variables, and or default or anything in the outer class. They do not have access to local variables of the methods unless those variables are final or effectively final. Again, they could only access final or effectively final methods inside the inner class. All right, the most important one is the static inner class. A static inner class is static, defined at a member level. Static classes don't need to be instantiated without an outer object. That's the benefit of static classes. It's like, because they're static. Remember, static is, anything static is, it's templated, it's pre-compiled. It's not compiled at runtime, so remember that from the first certification. So here's your static class. You have your private variables. All right. And these are, so the static class is on top. This is the example of a static class, how it looks. No different. And these, look at number 1 and number 2, the 2 ways how to instantiate a class. So I did it with the method name, with the class name, because that's with new, and I did it with going to the enclosing, instantiating the class using the precompiled method .nested and nested print on the first one. So just look at these 2 examples. So you don't. So the cool thing with static classes is you don't have to instantiate the outer class. Again, you do not have to the cool thing is you don't have to instantiate without the outer class. All right, let's go to the next top. Let's go to static class rules. A static class can be declared public, private, or protected. They use default access modifiers. Can be declared static methods and fields inside. It can declare static methods and fields inside. Nested static class do not need a reference of the outer class, meaning it doesn't have to be instantiated. You don't have to instantiate the outer class. Only static members of the outer class are accessible. So once you have have static members you can only access. You cannot, because remember, a class is compiled at runtime. So you can, and static fields and static members are compiled at pre-runtime. So that's the reason why only static classes can access static methods and fields. All right, using, let me get some water. Ooh. All right, using enumerated types. This is our last topic, including methods. Okay. All right, sorry guys. Right here, if you're looking, here is the chart list. Here is the chart list of member. Here is the chart list of. This is important. Take a screenshot of this because this is going to be on the exam. All right. Sorry about the squiggliness. All right, member classes, the access modifiers. If you look at this chart, it gives you the elements of each of these 4 classes. So again, I'm going to try to put these notes up on GitHub so y'all can get them. All right? But these are important. Memorize this stuff. Memorize all the access modifier, if the class can extend, if it can be abstract, it can be final, if it can access instantiate member of the enclosing class, and can access local variables of the class, and can be declared static. These 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These 7 things are going to be on the exam. Memorize them. Get to know them. Memorize this chart, because when you're doing the exam, you won't have any references. All right, let's go. Using enumerated types, including methods and constructors in a enum type. Sorry about that, guys. All right, what is an enum? A simple term, enum is a list of names, constants that define a new type, which is a fixed set of values. Sorry for the squiggliness. So, as here, this is a simple enum. All right. See from the code, and it's like a class. You initiate it, and systems out print line and print summer. So, as you want to declare it, you could. And remember, enums are from a separate file, so they're their own. You could they're their own file, and they're in their own class. They're in their own file. They're separate. They cannot be in the same file as a class or an interface. All right, guys. Enum properties. It can't be in the same class as a class, but it can be in the same thing as an interface. Sorry about that, guys. Enum properties and rules. Enum in Java are type safe, meaning it is thread safe. You could run this in a thread, and there won't be any fuck ups. Enum can define constructors in Java. Enum constants are implicitly static and final. Enum constants are implicitly static and final. Even if you don't put static and final there, in front of the constants, like if you go back here, winter, summer, and spring and fall, they're implicitly static final. Enum constructors must be private. Again, you'll get an error if you make it public. Enums can be used in a switch statements, and most importantly, enums can be implemented in interfaces but cannot extend class. You'll see this in the next example. All right, we're in the next example, and it implements weather description. All right, as you can see, if you're going to declare the value of the enum, you have to put the private. You have to initialize the private constructor inside its value. So you have to put strings. You have to put it as string, implicitly saying that this is a string. Again, this is like the singleton pattern. So you want to put the string inside the private constructor. Or if it's an int, and you want to make these winter, cold, summer, those values, you want to replace cold, warm, hot, and perfect with integers. You have to make the private constructor an int. Remember that. So it implements weather description from weather description, and I make this abstract public, and then you when you're programming and you're defining the methods for the winter, cold, summer, and fall. When you're defining these methods, it has to be defined in all of them, and you have to implement them all in all enum types. So again, so yeah, so look at that here. So yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, and then we apply this to a switch statement. As you can see, public class, season switch, main, season winner. So as you can see in all of them, it prints the value of summer, which would be a hot, and the value of summer, and it prints. Look at this code example. And importantly, value of throws a null pointer exception or an illegal argument exception. So if you put something in the value of and it can't find a match, it will throw an illegal argument exception and a null pointer exception. All right, guys, since this is important, we're just going to quickly do a code run. As you see in the season, I did put an interface at the top. I did put an interface at the top, weather description. I then implemented all these into the then I implement them all into winter, spring, summer, and fall. Yeah, so as you can see there, and then season switch is the main thing, and the value output would be for here would be winter to January to March, since it searches for winter. So yeah, all right. All right, let's play around a little bit, since this is going to be one of the most important things on the exam. So let's say I want to make this an int. So I change this to an int. And now, see, there was a compile time error, so I just put 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so I changed these values right here, as you can see. I changed them, and now I'm going to go to outer Java. I'm going to go to season switched right now. And now it's looking for the value of. You're going to get 2 error exceptions here. Watch. Since it can't find the value of, it cannot recognize the enum type. And look at the error. Oh, sorry. All right. Oh. Where's the runtime error? Okay. It should have a runtime error. Oh. Sorry, never mind. It's the value of, sorry. Yeah, something should be happening here. All right, summer. Winter. Something's a bit odd here. So problems. Yeah. Alright, I'll fix this one up. Sorry about that. So, yeah. I could change the values of into numbers. And I put the value of 1. Sorry. It should print 1 or 2 or 3. Shit, man. Alright. Huh. Alright, guys. Sorry about that. I'll try to make up for the example, but you can see that yeah, hold up. Cold winter season. Alright. June. Alright, sorry about that, guys. So we're gonna go back down here. And finally, this is the most important part, is the enum API. Once again, guys, you want to memorize the API. You want to know if there's something wrong. It returns the enum value. But illegal, exception, argument, and null pointer for value of, you want to memorize. You want to memorize this right here. You want to know illegal, argument, exception, and null pointer. It throws these two. They're going to be that's going to be asked in the certification. Now, public final int ordinal. It returns the position starting from 0 where the enum type is. So if the enum type, right? So if you go back, here, if the enum type is at 1, it'll be warm. I mean, it'll be spring. If the enum type is 0, it'll be winter. And if the enum for ordinal, and if the ordinal enum is at summer, it'll be 2. It's like an array. All right, and public final void finalize. Once you implement that method, all the methods in the enum cannot have enum classes cannot have so the enum classes cannot have finalized methods. And display array of enums returns a list of enums. And it's called, sorry, this one's called values. Sorry. So sorry about this, guys. It is values. Sorry about that. So sorry about that. Values, and returns a list of enums. Alright, sorry about some of the going back and forth, guys. And I hope you enjoyed this presentation from Java Monkey 777. Signing off now.